Welcome back to the Anime Association, and we are talking about the All-Devouring Whale episode 5. And honestly, I think this might have been one of the better episodes of the season so far, or at least the series so far. What are you thinking about, Ginyu?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think there was we got to see some of the pets in action, so that was pretty cool, as well as kind of getting some kind of classification exams and so forth. So it was quite interesting. So yeah, agreed. It was one of the better episodes indeed within the ones that we've seen so far.
Yeah, talking about the exam, one of the things that stuck out to me the most was they created a pet, an animal or whatever just for this exam. Like they actually said this is a pet that they created and got the halo for the bracelet. Do you think they like how do you think they created this pet? Do you think they're like breeding them to get a specific one, or you think there's some type of science to it?
I think this is probably more to a science level, but also like to a ministry kind of permitted kind of thing, because obviously the people that create them are these examiners, so clearly there's like a level of a board, and which will probably give them like a research division which allows them to do this kind of thing, because I don't think this would be allowed to be done by other people,
Mm-hmm.
especially due to the potential that it could have. Because if you're able to create these halo pets, what if someone else is able to create something more destructive, and those things are harmless? So I think it's probably something that's allowed only within that kind of circle of things, and it's forbidden to be done by anyone else, or maybe just the fact that that knowledge hasn't even been made public to anyone to do that.
Yeah, no, I think you make a good point there, which also had me starting to think maybe we'll see something later on in the series, if not this season, where somebody's artificially enhancing their pets, almost like Mewtwo and stuff like that, right? To not to make too many connections, but that's just the first thing that came into my head. Also, I really like the fact that they use them as technology. So they're using them to keep track of the people. They're using them to keep a counter. I thought they were going to have like a projection screen at first. That's what it looked like because you saw the big like bear thing in the middle with the orb in his stomach and everything. So I thought that was about to be a TV screen, but also we go in and I guess, do you think we can take the buys or bays, whatever you can, however you say their name, do you think we can take them off of the list of suspects of traitors towards Master Fun, or do you think that since they got brought up that's going to end up being something?
I think we might have to take them away from that conversation, only because, like, with normal anime tropes or just general tropes itself, the ones that they always try and project to you as the ones that are more likely to be the traitors are never usually the traitors. It's usually someone that's quiet, scheming around, that was super friendly, all nice and everything, that then somehow gives you that little spin around and says, "Oh, it was them instead." So I don't, as much as they had their encounters, I don't think it's them, or I don't think we should include them in the conversation of being the traders. I think it's probably going to be someone else completely. We still just haven't met them, or maybe it might be the the guy that we always make jokes about being the wannabe Thorfinn. He had his little moments there. There's always something there, but I just don't think it's gonna be them. It's too obvious or too much of a coincidence.
Yeah, I think they did throw in a little bit of a red herring when looking back about, oh, I made sure that I kept one catfish. I'm the one that can keep a catfish, and all the other ones were getting rid of. And then you had this thrown in there, and I think it is kind of to throw the scent towards them, not off of them, but to throw it towards them. But I think that would be a little too obvious because one of the things that no when I first heard traitor, I'm thinking of someone within the pavilion itself, right? But then,
Hmm.
as we see as this episode about midway point or before the exam actually started, we find out that four of the people that robbed the pavilion after Fan's death, he actually helped them out at one point in time, or at least one of the four that he did. So I'm thinking maybe the traitor might not be someone within the sect, but somebody that he helped along the way, type of thing. Like I think I might. I'm not sure about you, but I think I might be taking a look at traitor a little bit too intimate to the term traitor.
Okay, I mean that's a fair assessment. I hadn't actually thought about it that way. I think it is very much possible, but also even if it is someone that's been helped, there's always the someone's been given something nice to give to give certain information in certain situations to allow to better themselves. So just because you help them doesn't mean that the person that you helped initially might have been a good person. You may just have helped the wrong person who just ended up getting a nicer deal somewhere else, and you just happen to be a casualty to that because while you're nice doesn't mean they're nice as well. So I think that could be one of those situations because it is such a human thing to do. Sometimes you get to a position where you just you look for yourself, you look out for yourself in certain situations, and I think that probably will get that little story, and then towards the end they're crying like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, this that, and then you know the usual. But yeah, no, I hear what you're saying completely.
Yeah, and then we saw what's the guy's name? Sue, I think was his name. We
Hmm.
saw from that we helped save his Vulpix, his fire Vulpix and ice Vulpix, right? Uh
Just
we saw him show up, but he's working for a totally different team. But then we also see the E sect fall back, come back up later on into the story near the end. They bring up the name of the E sect. Do you think that these things will cross paths again? What do you think Sue is going to play a major part in this examination?
I think he will because while he's on a different team, there is this lingering feeling of you know I still I low key owe you one. You done me a solid. I think something within this exam is going to get to a point where the team are not 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 about to lose but are overwhelmed in a situation, and he kind of has a moment where it's like, you know what, they did me a solid, and he's going to help him, and then somebody he's going to be like, yeah, we're even now. So I think he's obviously going to play I think he's going to play a role um that will allow the story to progress, which will more likely be the escape plot hole for when our main characters are in a bit of a pinch, and it just needs to be convenient that they manage to somehow get out of that situation. So I think that's the if he is to play a role, I think that's the role he's going to play.
Yeah, I somewhat agree. I think his role is going to be to help out the girl Gyu. I think that's her name, right? Because she was
Mm.
surrounded by three people, and I'm pretty sure one of the people that I think ended on like the cliffhanger note was somebody that actually used to be a part of the pavilion. That turned around because she was like, "Oh, this," and she knew the person's name. I would have to go back and actually, look at the first two episodes to see if that name comes up. But I'm pretty sure it's somebody that used to be a part of the pavilion. Now, outside of that, we also saw that uh, Fawn's pets go to because his original the body he's possessing, it used to be a part of a different sect, and that sect is also in this thing. And we saw one of his pets run up to the girl because she obviously sent no familiarity and things like that. Do you think what do you think is going to come from this interaction?
Mm, honestly, Honestly, I'm not too sure. I mean, I think probably I remember the bit a little bit vaguely, not enough for it to be have been a prominent situation. But I don't think in terms of that interaction, I don't think they're gonna go much more with it because there is still so much that we're still yet to go through. So I don't think they have enough time, or I don't feel like they're gonna have enough time to tie that back to anything because of the fact that there are so many reveals that are still yet to happen with certain characters. So I think it's probably one of those things where I was like, oh, okay, this happened, but I don't think it's gonna be prominent enough for them to bring it round and say, yeah, there was a reason why this happened. It was because of this, and this. I don't think they're gonna do that.
Okay. I think I might have to disagree with you on that one. I think that they are going to join the pavilion. I think that's what
Mm,
we're going to end up seeing, is because they seem to be making a big scene about who Fawn is possessing. I can't think. I think his name's like Lou or something like that.
sure. Yeah.
So they've been making a big deal out of it. The episode started. They was like, "Oh, you're the leecher." He's like, "Oh yeah, I am the leecher," because he didn't want to, expose who he really is at that point in time. And then we get at the very end, they're calling him out. So I think what's going to end up happening, because obviously it's going to be like, well, damn, you left our sect to go join the pavilion.
Yeah.
And so and this is where kind of at the beginning of the episode might come into handy. I didn't think it was that good of a thing to do, to not reveal who they are, which we'll go into thoughts about that after this. Because now we're at a crossroad point of, if they join, that because this team is going to be like, why did you leave us for this sect when you were like the leader of this sect? Who knows who he really was with that sect, right? But
Yeah.
then it's like, how I don't know how that's going to swing. Maybe they will merge into the pavilion, and that's how we start growing the pavilion back up. And because they already know who this Lou person is, even if Fawn doesn't know who they are. So, but talking about that, what did you think about him deciding not to reveal himself? Because I know last time we were talking about how this almost seemed like the time to do it, the time that it almost seemed like narratively it only made sense for it to be said at this point in time. Do you feel like that was a missed opportunity, or do you feel different after this episode?
I think it did feel like a bit of a missed opportunity, but also I think, it's more about if it's revealed now, where do we go with the story? Or, or later on down the line where it's revealed where in such a critical moment where it makes sense. I mean, it would have been so much easier for him to just reveal it, yeah. But I think there's probably something's gonna happen to this girl to the point that he has to then reveal it. Either she's going to be in extremely high danger, or his whole crew is going to be in danger, that it just then becomes a whole thing. But also it was also maybe the fact that he knew that there were people eavesdropping. That's why he didn't reveal it. That's also a possibility, because I don't know, on your subtitles, did they spell it with a double E or a single E for Leecher?
They only spelled it with a single E, so it wasn't really like Leecher. It was like Letcher or something like that.
Yeah, so I had to Google that because I was like, what the hell is that? So basically, a lecher is someone obsessed with sex that can't stop thinking about it or having it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I
Yeah, it threw me off. It threw me off as well. It threw me off when I saw it because I was like, what? What is this word? I ain't never heard this word like this. And I had to Google it, and I was like, either is my subtitles dodgy, or this guy got some type of things going on,
yeah.
so yeah. But I think common sense kind of prevailed, and you kind of put two and two together to kind of determine that they meant like a leech, or someone that kind of feeds off other people and takes, and doesn't really contribute and only just takes. So I did common sense prevailed, but it was a very dicey one, to say the least. But the other thing, just kind of just
So
continuing that,
is it like the pervert? Is it like a pervert trope? Is that what that's supposed to be? Is like a pervert trope?
I think the definition of the word there, I think it's just someone that's I don't know outright pervert, but it's just someone that's like, that's up for a good time kind of thing. It's just there,
Okay.
But I think another thing that was quite interesting as well was they during the exam bit where they get to the exam bit where you got to register and all of this stuff. There was a bit of a showdown where everybody kind of summoned their pets and everything, and then you see the bit where now you see Teddy Dog is at 8th level soul building stage, but you get one of these guys kind of dismiss soul building, which made it feel like, is soul building as a whole, regardless of the level that you're at, an entry level situation where it's just like, yeah, fine, you got to get to level 10 of this and then you're at the main level? Because the way he spoke was so dismissive of saying, oh, you're still doing soul building kind of thing, as if there is something more after you've done soul building. I don't know if you caught that up, because Teddy Dog had seemed to upgrade, because it now had some of these markings on there, which was really interesting to see, but also to kind of see that that the piss it does is actually like toxic. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
It's like a
it's
chemical that
toxic.
it can shoot out type of thing.
Yeah, so either it can be done as a toxin or an antidote, depending on the situation, which was very interesting. But yeah, no, I think it was just one of those things that I noticed, that soul building seemed to have been dismissed as an entry level thing, that you're still struggling to do that. You should be able to do so much more than just doing soul building.
Yeah, that is kind of that. I think I did catch it. I didn't think of it that way, but I think that is a good way to think of it. That there's another step to the bonding process, or just like the more personalized evolution of these pets.
Hmm.
I kind of took it as, so what, you're soul building, my pets are still stronger than yours, because it seems like soul building is a very important or specific type of thing for the pets, because of when they found like the panda unicorn, right? They sat there and they made a big deal about the guy's fox being a soul binded fox. Like, no, this isn't something that should be going on with just any type of animal. So I mean, I think it's a big step to it, and I think you're right at the fact that there's has to be something more after you brought it
Hmm.
up. It makes sense that if there's a soul building stage, maybe there's or a soul binding stage, maybe there's like like a soul fusion stage or something like that, right? To But I just kind of looked at it like who cares? My pets are stronger than yours, which obviously they weren't. They got stomped out in quite a bit of an instance of, in all honesty. So before we wrap it up, was there anything that stood out to you the most with this episode itself?
Um, Not like extremely. I think it was just more like like a curiosity. I think the whole arc that they're doing now with this island, it really felt like the Hunter exam kind of situation, where you have to go to certain places, you got to do certain things which involve other characters. Who does this first? So I think that was the first thing that I thought about as soon as that happened. But everything else was pretty interesting. Obviously curious to see what happens in the remaining episodes, but yeah, it is starting to get a little bit more in depth, and which is really exciting.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on the hunter exam type of vibe to it, and yeah, I think the thing that stood out to me the most was the fact that they, one, created a pet that has a halo on it for a bracelet, and secondly, there are such thing as parasitic pets. I know that wasn't something that we touched on, but the guy had like a parasite worm, a part of his arm that is his pet that's living off of him. So I think that's pretty interesting that we have those type of pets that if it's a parasite, they're hurting the owner, right? But with that being said, I think we'll wrap it up here. And unless there's anything else you want to add on to it. So catch y'all next time. Let us know down below what y'all thought about the episode. If there's anything that we missed, or maybe we analyzed it wrong and you have your own take to it, let us know down below. And while you're down there, go on ahead and hit that like button, the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell because it helps us bring this type of great content straight to your feed. Peace.